Hey, this is Kristen with Collision Hub, and we are back at SEMA 2011, and we had to stop by the DuPont Refinish booth to talk a little bit about what's going on with their water products. You guys, as you watch on the website, you know I'm a paint geek and I love paint, and the new CroMax Pro has got some great paint to offer the industry. So Harry, thanks for taking the time. You have a busy booth. Ooh, look at this.
Yes, we do. It's been actually jumping all week so far.
That's right. Now, you got a few cars featured in the booth, and is it some of our calendar winners from this year?
Yep, this one here is a calendar winner, the 61 Impala. Not on the cover, but it is one of the premier cars that we have on the calendar. We've actually got a couple other Tim's cars back there.
Yeah.
And this Challenger up here is actually an executive car, so it's a very rare piece.
Oh, it's exciting. I love the Impala, so I was really excited to see it in the booth, so that's why we picked it for the background. So CroMax Pro is doing some great things. I'm hearing some great things across the industry. I've had a little bit of chance to paint with it. Really super impressed with the coverage. 1.5 coats and I'm there. Let's talk a little bit about the paint for the shops.
Well, you know, CroMax Pro, as you said, it's a different product. Okay, it's if you are a shop that's a productivity shop, if you're painting, you know, if you're an MSO or you're a big dealership, and what you want to do is get cars through,
right?
CroMax Pro is the paint for you. It's, you know, 1.5 coats, like you said, and so 30% less cycle time, and of course 1.5 coats versus 3, 4, 5, 6. Imagine the amount of less paint you use.
Yeah, well, the less paint with certain toners, the more coats I'm laying on with those certain tones, the more money's going out the bottom, the back door of my shop, so to speak, than the front door coming in. Yeah. So, you know, when I was spraying it, I was really super impressed, not only with the 1.5 coat coverage, which I liked, but it seemed to flash off extremely quickly. I was going to clear really, really fast. Is that where you guys are finding a lot of your time savings?
Well, absolutely. It's the two things. It's the fact that it's only 1.5 coats. So rather than painting, waiting, painting, waiting, painting, waiting, all those wait steps are gone. You know, it's 1.5 coats, continuous spray, and then it flashes and you're done.
Right. I think that's a real good point, is that there is a wet lay there, which makes it go way, way faster than what else we're seeing in the industry right now.
Yeah.
So how are conversions going? I know kind of across the country, it's kind of interesting to see we're getting a lot of conversions in the Midwest, where we typically think it's the coast for, but what are some of the feedback from shops going through the conversion process?
Shops are loving it. Okay, anybody who goes to waterborne is an investment, as we all know. However, with CroMax Pro, you pay back your investment much faster because of, again, if your productivity, if you're constrained in your paint booth, right, more cars through that single paint booth or your double paint booth, there's no more investment. And just getting the cars through the shop. I mean, that's what it's all about. So conversions are going real well. CroMax Pro, you know, being the wet on wet, and it's actually a higher pigment loading than most of the other paints out there, ends up, it takes a little bit of a different technique, right? So a painter needs to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Painters are creatures of habit,
yeah,
as we all know. So, but it takes a little bit of training. However, what we found is that most painters, in fact, I haven't talked to a painter yet who's sprayed CroMax Pro who has said, I want to switch back. It's all, once they learn to use it, they will never change paints again.
Right, right. And the pigment load, there's a couple different things. When we look at the waterborne cost of a conversion, we get a little intimidated. You know, I've got some booth costs, I've got some dryer costs, I may have to upgrade my guns. You know, what all is that going to involve? But there is a payback on the end, just because I'm going to push more cars through, so that's more per week without adding new technicians or anything to my load.
Absolutely.
And then I'm also going to end up eventually reducing my costs, because I'm going to have less pigment, less coats, less liquid costs. So it's just a win-win all around with the product. So.
It absolutely is. Like I said, we've got a number of interviews. If you go on our website, we've got tons of testimonials on there. And to a man, everyone is, I would never use another paint now. It's just that much different and that much better.
Well, yeah, there's some people on there that I actually respect, big names in the industry that we all know. And so when somebody's thinking of a conversion, I always like to pick up the phone and call them and go, hey, give me the real scoop. What did you really think of this process? And time after time, those shops are telling me, Kristen, it really was one of the simplest things we've ever done. And within a matter of days, we were back up to producing more than what we were before with the solvent. And they're all telling me, we're not going back.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's funny because when I came into this industry about 3 years ago, I'm not a painter, so I knew nothing about painting cars. And the first thing I said was, I got to learn. I have to learn how to paint. And the first class that was offered happened to be a CroMax Pro class. So I went to it, you know, pick up the spray gun, we painted. They showed me how to do it. They showed me how to blend. And I thought, wow, this is easy. About a month later, I took the solvent class, and I started, you know, spraying, waiting, spraying. I was like, why would anybody do this when I can do waterborne.
Yeah.
But so many, painters, they're used to doing that solvent, coat after coat, and that's what they, I guess it's comfort. They're comfortable.
But yeah, I mean, born and raised on solvent. When the whole thing started to happen, I was like, you want me to put what in my gun and do what with it? That's just not going to happen. But then once we made the switch, it was, I'm never going back. And I think it's an interesting perspective for somebody to start with water versus kind of go through the old process. It really, after I guess you look back and go, we were fools for so many years.
It was strange, because like I said, it was using CroMax Pro, it was easy, it laid down, it was, you saw what you got, right?
Yeah.
When you put down, with solvent, it just didn't seem that way. Again, for somebody who's new, I was like, well, that doesn't look like what I want it to look like.
Right.
Now I got to put another, now that still doesn't look like, and I would keep going. With the CroMax Pro, I would put it down, it was what I wanted, and it was done.
Yeah.
It flashed off, and it, like you said, it flashes very quickly, and it looks great. It dries nice and flat, you know when it's dry, and then you clear coat and you're done.
Yep. Yeah, I enjoy watching the flash. If you do a time lapse on the flash, it's always really neat to watch that because you're thinking, well, that's what I see. So, hey, Aaron, I'm really excited. I can't wait. I know we're going to get back over here a little bit later, talk to some shops that are going through the process, get some real feet on the ground experience with making that conversion in your repair center. So, stay tuned with us. We're going to be back at SEMA live on the floor, visiting with some shops who have made that conversion on the CroMax Pro product, how it's improving your production in your shop, improving your profitability, and let's see if we can make 2012 your best year yet in refinishing.